Mimi mwenyewe bethe Njeri, I didn't understand why it has to happen to me. I really question God. You know, I'm asking God, why me? Mungu unajua mimi si mkora. I wish hata ningekuwa ni mimi ni mkora ni justify. Wavinyi is so sweet. Like she's the sort of lady who wants a family. A guy who's there for her. Na raise watoi. Even Sarah. Good women. I don't have friends to begin with. You need to understand that. Again, something I've constantly said on Twitter. Mimi sinanga mabeshte. Mimi I have loans in places like Japan. Nikiwa hapa most of them zimeingia nini? Tumeingia in the red.
Speaking of your car,
yeah.
There was an article that it has been repossessed because Kairo amesota manzi. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Tuko Talks. Well, they say that a story usually has two sides. And on today's episode of Tuko Talks, we host a young man who is a successful business person, but on the recent months, he has found himself on the dark side, especially of the internet. My name is Njeri, and welcome to today's episode of Tuko Talks. Hi, Khalif.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm very fine. My name is Khalif Kairo. I'm the founder of two companies, Jetman Global, which is an aircraft sales and rentals marketplace, online marketplace, and KenyanCaro.com, which is Kenya's #1 used car sales website. I know a lot of people who are watching this episode, kuna that part they want us to dive in, but before we even get to where we are today, we can maybe know Kairo kidogo tu. Who's Kairo? How did you manage to set up such a business at such a young age? Alafu tukuje mali tuko leo. Kairo is a born again Christian, #1. Jesus is Lord, and I'm 28 years old, born in 96, born in Nairobi, Pumwani to be very precise. I grew up in Kawangware and I've lived there. Actually, I moved out of Kawangware in 2017, if I'm not wrong. And I was raised by a single mom. So my dad was in the picture, but they were not, legally married. And I schooled in Kawangware, Huduma Primary from 2002 to 2008, and World Up Academy 2008 to 2010. KCP yangu, I scored 374 marks. Went to Dagoretti High School. 2011, admission number 1198. Nikakaa 1 year. Madhe akasema hii shule hapana, unakuwa kijana mauru sana. They transferred me to a school, a smaller school, but a very good school. It's called Uhuru. In Kiambu, hapo Kikuyu, to be very precise. I spent 3 years in that school. I have some experience. It shaped me. And I finished school in 2014. Yeah.
In 2014, that is when you did your KCSE, right?
I did my KCSE in 2014, precisely. Yeah.
So at what point does Kairo go to, between going to university, campus, and kufungua biashara?
I actually started working immediately I finished school. Mimi nilimalizanga shule 2014, November 5th. I think it was a Thursday or a Friday. Last paper was CRE. I remember very well. In fact, that photo is on my Facebook page. I finished school and immediately thereafter, like hiyo time unajua bethe ndio nikuje kumaliza shule nilikuwa nimechujwa. I'd been given a suspension for participating in a strike around July. My mom was of the opinion just instead of kuanza kurudi shule weka home. There's a guy called Eric, an architect. I'm sure I was probably going to see this interview. Eric ndiye alilipona madhangu kunitutor. I think 200 per day or something. But that guy helped me, especially in maths. Alinisaidia sana. So I did my KCSE from home. So that time nikiwa home, it was like a punishment. Because now I'm not in school. You're not with your boys, not with your mom at home. So I got a chance to reflect. Now my dad passes like talking to men and Benyaji, you see, fanyia KCSE, it's not a good thing, Yeah, so very interesting situation. And along that period kuna mabishto wangu wa mtaa walikuwa wanauzanga magari. So I started seeing, the sort of things they were doing. I'd see them come home with a Mark X, one day with an S-Class. And I started becoming intrigued with the vehicle industry. Because I've always been a kid who loved cars. Yeah. My dad introduced me to cars at a very early age. By age 12, I could drive an automatic. And by 13, I could ride a motorbike, manual motorbike, very, very well. Yeah. So I had that passion for cars and aircraft pia. But so that's 2014. So I start working. brokering, kupost Facebook, try get clients, very difficult at first. I don't know anything. So, but I decided to tarmac, and in 2015, I get my first job. By the February 2015 is when I got my first formal employment in the car industry. I'm marking 10 years, surprisingly, as we do this interview. 10 years as a professional car salesman. Yeah. And yeah, I worked for those guys for 2 years. I resigned in 2017, April. And no, I resigned in 2017, March. My son was born around 2017, April. But I did try to go to school in 2015, 2016. 2015, 2016, I went to ZTech. Nilikuwa naendanga evening classes, but I dropped out after 2 semesters.
Which course?
I was doing business administration. Yeah, I dropped out. So nikarudi huku nje 2017. Sasa ndio nilianza kubroka magari now as Kairo. So the guys who nimuuzia magari yo time nikiwa kwa street. Unajua kwa street you don't have an office, you don't have anything. That's when now I started, because those 2 years there are many people I met in those first years, but I was working in a showroom, employed. But I left employment in 2017. So 2018, 2019 I moved to Kiambu Road. Na Kiambu Road nimekaa by the way. So there's a very nice couple. The Jesse and the wife, a lady called Purity. Sure, we probably featured her. She's very bubbly. Purity and Jesse held my hand. Kiambu Road, they're the one who taught me how to import cars, gave me my first networks in Japan, gave me my first networks in the port of Mombasa, and I learned to import cars. So that was around the same time I started a page called Imports by Kairo on Facebook, pushed it. 2020, I banded up with 2 other guys. We opened the first company. No, that was my first company where I was a director. That was in 2020. I think I was still young. I was 23 years old. Yeah. Did Imports by Kairo 2020, COVID. We actually opened the same day the former president, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, shut down the country. That's the day we opened. Very tough year. Extremely tough year. 2020 hata I remember hata nilikuwa nashindwa kulipa rent. And but God was very faithful. Still bought my first car in 2020. Sasa yangu ya malap. Funny thing, car dealers don't even buy cars. There's always so much cars you're dealing with. You don't even need to own your own car. Crazy. 2020 piga kazi. Up to 2022 we had a fallout within the company. Lots of personality issues, disputes. Something I can't dwell. The matter is still in court. One of the directors, one of my former partners took me to court. It's in the High Court. So I can't, and he did a gag order on me. So I can't really delve into it without don't to piss off the court.
Yeah.
But from 2022, I think that's my biggest breakthrough, because that's when now I went out in the wild on my own. And I built Khalif Kairo from there. We officially commenced operations, because I remember when I left Imports by Kairo in September of 2022. I went to Japan, now started building my network. That year I'd also done Singapore and Malaysia. So I have a very good network in Asia. Set up my company. Again, Jesse, the same couple, Purity. They had 2 showrooms. Didn't make sense to have 2. They told me take 1. So I took 1. And we built on that. So we've built KaiandKaro.com to be one of the... KaiandKaro.com has the biggest following of any car dealership in Kenya. Yeah, on Facebook we boast around 250,000 followers. On IG we have close to 100,000 followers, and on Twitter we have 50,000. Yeah, so I mean we are well followed, and we've gone on to do great things. Yeah, so it's been a crazy journey. We've been doing well, but we've had our own struggles as a company. Sure. Last year was a good year, but towards the end, we ran into very deep, we ran into a deep financial crisis, which we're still trying to navigate right now. And but I'm still hopeful that the future is very bright, because as a founder, as an entrepreneur, it's never smooth. Sometimes you're going to find yourself in a lot of situations, but this story doesn't. People think ilianza last year, because a lot of people know me from 2023. That's when now I think my star really, really shone. But this is work that God has been doing for the last 10 years. Yeah, people now see the results right now, but it's been a long journey. Yeah.
Wow. So towards last year, that is when umesema things started.
Yeah, we started having a bit of challenges.
Yeah, and we woke up this one day and we see this video Khalif Kairo anaambiwa na polisi amka twende, and at first we actually thought ni video ya clout marketing and whatever?
No. It wasn't clout. We to address that video, I don't like discussing client issues, but in that case, we had a client who, sometimes you can have commercial disputes. Very normal in business. But in this particular case, we had a client who has a very senior relative at the DCI. So it had gotten to a point where I was getting shadowed by cops, getting death threats. That day when they arrested me, it was so dramatic. I was going to the bank. The next day I was supposed to travel to the US to raise money for the company. I'm at the parking mall and I get blocked by an entire Subaru Outback with 5 people. And I'm taken into custody, and we get to the station, they're taking videos, nikiingia. It's like they're making one bomb reel. So, I just got pissed and I told them, look, you can't harass me like this. Present me to a judge. And that's how I ended up in court. Yeah, because it now got to a point where I felt like that sort of intimidation, that sort of harassment worsened things for us. Because the moment you involve police in a civil dispute, number one, we are unable to function.
Yeah.
Sometimes some police officers, not all police officers are bad, but some police officers are rogue. How they start blackmailing me. Unajua tutakupiga picha tukuweke ile board, tuseme wewe ni mkora, tulipe 100,000, pay us 200,000. So it becomes very difficult to do business. And it really took a toll on us. We don't refuse we are at fault. I mean, there was a commercial contract that we didn't adhere to due to our own issues as a company. But you see now the moment cops wanaanza kuwa involved, now inafanya mambo inakuwa ngumu. Yeah. So when that video trended, I was like, you know what? If anybody wants to take me to court, I won't now. I don't think I have to keep responding to police summons. These are commercial transactions backed by agreements. So I just told them, look, take me to court. Yeah. So I went to court. I was arrested, went through that whole, the Kenyan criminal system is just another thing on its own. I don't want to talk much about the court because the matters are still in court. But we are working day and night to try and resolve that impasse.
Okay.
And the only resolving the impasse is we don't have any intent to defraud anyone. As you said, I have a rich history of 10 years with not a single run-in with police. All my run-ins with police ni vitu za traffic. Tumemshika hasijui yako ana license, sijui gari anaendesha gari na number plate. Common dealer problems, but nothing in the lines of fraud. So I've built a very good reputation. So we are working day and night to try and resolve that matter. And it's my wish, by God willing, by the time we're going back to court, that tukue tume resolve. So tukirudi kwetu ni withdraw. Yeah, but it's something that has really affected the company. And but we're trying to get out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, when all this is happening on internet,
yeah.
So how does this young man who has had a very successful career find themselves in this now situation where they have to be summoned by cops, court cases, nini?
I'll tell you something for a fact. In business, there are always challenges. And the tragedy with business is you cannot anticipate the sort of challenges that you can get. There's one guy I highly respect. One Kenyan businessman I highly respect. A guy called Humphrey Kairo. Very wealthy guy. Humphrey at one point was being dragged in courts. This is a guy who's built one of the biggest, as in this is a guy I honestly look up to. I'm like, hey, when I grow up I want to be that man. But at one point you see him being given summons, bail, asipe. So after speaking to a lot of people, mimi mwenyewe bedhe, Njeri, I didn't understand why it has to happen to me. I really question God. I'm asking God, why me? Mungu unajua mimi si mkora. I wish hata ningekuwa ni mimi ni mkora, ni justify. Because you see, criminals know how to game the system. You understand? Criminals really know how to game the system. They know who to bribe, how to get off easy, how to frustrate cases. But a straight businessman doesn't do that, because that is not our core business. Our core business is just running a company. So, but then again, when you speak to a lot of people, you start realizing that these things can happen to anyone. And business sometimes, especially in a place like Africa, unaweza jipata on the toll or on the wrong side of the law. Not because you're a bad person, but because some things don't always go as planned. even on an international scale, even people like Elon Musk, they get sued. Skia kona sijui, there's the Securities Exchange Commission of the US. Kama sahi they are suing Elon Musk sijui for what he said. You find their clients suing him, their investors going after him. So I'm starting to understand that the bigger you grow in business, you're not going to avoid legal challenges. So it always pays to invest. This is one mistake I did. I did not invest in good legal protection frameworks. Understand? If there were good legal protection frameworks, you can avoid this whole back and forth. You understand? But without good legal protection, sometimes you go into these situations as a nice person. You don't know who you're dealing with. Maybe kuna mtu anaelewa venye how the criminal system, and they're going to use that to their advantage to put you in a very bad situation, like I found myself in. So I mean, it's something I never anticipated, but God has a way of reminding you, you're not the only person. Kama a guy at the level of Humphrey can have such cases, even with the taxman, Yvonne Kawira, that lady, Senator Tabitha. At one point she was having battles every now and then with the taxman. So some of these things are normal in business. You honestly can't avoid them. Even big companies, even the likes of Safaricom, Equity, you'll always see once in a while someone has sued them. But you see, for them it normally takes on the civil route in most cases. But this is for us sometimes as a young person, you don't understand how the judicial system works. You've never find yourself in that situation. Things can really escalate quickly. Na unajipata kitu ilikuwa inafaa mngeenda msolvie in a commercial court, because you don't know how the system works. Mtu tu mmoja. It's not 10 people or 15 people who've taken us to court. It's only like 3 people or 2. So that tells you that, you see, there are people who understand business inaweza kuwa na issue, but there's someone who will be like, some people can even kill you. Again, these are lessons I'm learning in business, and I appreciate them because I understand that this is not the end. We are going to higher levels, and you have to learn some of these things along the way. Yeah.
Still on this business issue,
there
are people that felt like in the midst of all this, where you have clients who are suing you for not delivering the services required, Kairo is busy saying, oh, God is testing me, you are gaslighting them with the word of God. How can you address that?
No, I mean, God testing you, that was not meant for the client. That was just meant for the sort of things that I was going through. I was battling a lot of things. And it's true, sometimes God will test you with very difficult situations. Let me tell you the hardest thing ever. Have you ever been in a situation that is completely beyond your control? Everything seems to be going south at the same time. Your relationship is going south. Your business is going south. Your other company, we have this other aircraft company, Jetman. Again, there's maybe a plane we brought in, nothing seems to be working. So, and then deep down in your heart, you know that the intention is not to hurt anybody. I keep giving people raw numbers. I'm a person who likes talking about numbers. I keep telling people we delivered 300 cars last year. Cumulative value, 800 million to around 1 B. 300 cars worth 800 million were delivered successfully. No drama, no issue, no cases online. Right now we have a delivery book with around 10-15 units pending. So we can say that we delivered over 95% of what we were supposed to deliver last year. But 3% imeniletea so many issues. At one point nilikuwa na contemplate tu kuachana na hii biashara completely. You understand? So some of these things are tests. In the sense that as jakufanyikia because you are an evil person, because you are a bad person, sometimes in the spiritual sense of things, God will test you. That is true. But it wasn't meant, I was not addressing clients. I was just addressing people who are wondering, what's happening with him, nini, why is everything, and I like, God will test you, and it's true, God will test you. Me, I've been in these situations before, where you find yourself in very bad, dire straits, and the only thing that's going to save you is your faith in God, and sticking to the good person attitude. Because let me tell you something, if I was a bad person, or if my intention was to steal, my phone would be off right now, ningefunga ofisi na nitoroke na niende. You understand? Hii time yote kumekuwa na issue. I've had my passport. I have my passport. Hata sahi, I have open tickets to go to the US that have been open from August last year. When we started having the crisis, there's other people I was going to meet abroad. And I had to put those trips on hold. So I've always had these open tickets. So if I wanted to run away,
you would have gone.
I'd have gone kitambo sana. Ningeenda, nijifiche. Even friends reached out and said, bro, I have a place hata in Tanzania, kuja jifiche kaa 2 months, cheza chini, zima simu, control vitu. But I'm like, no, I'm going to ride this storm. It's my responsibility, it's my company. That is God testing you. Mungu ana test nini yako. How bad are you willing to die for your company? Are you willing to spend 10 days in jail for your company? Are you willing to almost lose everything simply because you want to do the right thing? You understand? So some of these things are tests. Si ati ni vitu tunapanganga. Unaget, ni vitu, these are things that can happen to anyone. And I hope people who are watching these, the people who attack me, mostly have never operated a business. Watu wa biashara, they know. Wanaelewa vizuri sana. Biashara, hata unaweza pewa order leo ya 1B. Kesho KRA waseme ni aje, wewe kwanza ulipangi tax wewe. Tumekuweka kwa reda yetu for 1 year. Na wakufungie pin, na wakufreeze your account. What do you tell your client? A person working a comfortable 9 to 5 haizi elewa some of these modalities. These are things that happen. Amu unasikia ni aje, you run in a very good company, you making profits. One day employee wana gang up na wanakuibia. And you left, unabaki kwa mata. What happens? You understand? Sisi in our case, we even had a situation where like we had a lot of pending orders at one point. Kidogo a blogger goes on Twitter. They keep attacking us. Unapata tulikuwa tumeshedule orders kama we were expecting like 40-50 million September. 90% of those orders are cancelled. So your cash flows take a hit. Mimi I have loans in places like Japan. Nikiwa hapa most of them zimeingia nini? Tumeingia in the red. You understand? These things can happen to anybody. Provided you're in business. And you're not going to build a business to a certain level without going through these problems. One of the most valuable companies on earth is Tesla, which is owned by Elon. Tesla has almost gone bankrupt 3 times. 2008, they couldn't deliver cars on time. Piga delay almost 8 months. They did deliver. 2013, I think 2017, they were sued by clients. Again, production ilikuwa inawakula kichwa, wanashindwa kudeliver. Them they manufacture, shindwa kudeliver. What am I trying to tell you that some of these things you cannot avoid them in business. Na unasikia people sometimes don't see the 95% which you have and you umefanya people will see the 3% yenye iliwalemea. You understand? Yeah. So naangalianga watu wakijudge, people attacking you, people insulting you, people going after your lifestyle and you're like, bro, we've done so much. We're not focus on the 1% that doesn't matter, or the 1% that you think is bad. But unfortunately, that's how human beings are wired.
Okay, speaking of lifestyle, before we touch on that, I'm in the midst of all this saga with Khalif and Kairo imports. There's a time you have given a pay bill for people to changa for you, and people had a lot to say.
It was actually for the company. It wasn't for me.
Yeah, for the company.
It was for the company. You know, Kairo, Mimi,
and then there's
the company are 2 separate legal entities.
Thank you for the clarification. So for the company, there we go. But now people are saying that Kairo has these powerful friends in US, Japan, wherever. Why don't you talk to them to fund your company?
Can I tell you something? If you read that statement we did about the pay bill, our We Funder campaign in the US was taken down. We were trying to raise money for kaiandkaro.com. Was taken down after 12 hours. Tulikuwa raise over 100,000 USD in 12 hours. That's 13 million. We were looking for seed capital. And we're still going to do that fundraise, by the way, because the company is going to need a lot of money to achieve whatever we want to achieve. Our We Funder was pulled down. Ukisikia niombe mweke pay bill is because now I'd seen this is the end. Imagine, we've 1 week before, let me tell you, ndio leo kitu ni malicious. Monday, a week before, when we started doing the We Funder, we started planning for the We Funder in January. So we did the pitch, set up a US corporation, put all the systems in place, laid out our objectives, and the day I posted it, did a video and told people, we are getting frustrated in Kenya. And I want to clarify that I feel there are powerful forces beyond this whole thing that are fighting me. I need to make it very clear. So tell people, look, huku venye inakaa, mambo inakaa tricky. But we can always incorporate in another company to protect any person who decides to invest in us. You see the beauty about having a company in a place like the US, that's a place with a lot of capital. if things don't work out in Kenya, we can use that base in the US to set up in Jamaica. Jamaica is more or less the same as the Kenyan market. We can use that same entity to set up a place in the Cayman or set up in Sudan or wherever. If you take that tech-driven approach, mambo inakuanga very flexible. Hata mkishatiwa down Kenya, you can always do business in Tanzania. I've seen like betting companies inapigwa Kenya na wanaendelea kufanya kazi yao Tanzania. Why? Because their core operation is not in Kenya, it's in an offshore. So the moment I did that video, I elaborated what my plan was, which is basically we create an ecosystem for used cars, parts and everything. Tell me why the next day I'm going to attend court, I'm arrested. Nobody had summoned me. Nobody had told me, come to Parklands, record a statement. But that day, conveniently, sasa zenye tumeka wifanda kama Tuesday, Wednesday nenda koti inashikwa. Then conveniently somebody sends that footage to the people who own the company that does the refund. And now this company writes me an email. They're like, you know what, you have a lot of legal issues. We'll have to pull down your campaign. Sabotage. As in sabotage on such a crazy level. Hata mimi nashangaa yenyewe kwani watu wanakuwa na roho chafu aje huku nje. Yaani mtu anachukua hizo video, hizo article, anaandikia hiyo kampuni US. The guy is now coordinating. That day, I can even show you my phone. We had a meeting with the guys about refunds because now we're almost getting close to our target. Our target initially was like at least get 300,000 USD. You ingetusaidia kusort all pending deliveries. Then we continue moving towards the bigger goal, which was almost 2 million USD now, which is going to assist us like lay out our projects, lay out everything. Then ini shut down. Niko ndani, nimeshikwa. Hata Zoom nilikuwa nimeitwa sija attend. I'd have probably been able to clarify, but I'm in a cell. The guys who arrested me, they're like saying, look, we want to give you bail. Hata ikitu si kitu inafaa kwenda court. It looks very civil, but orders from above, you have to go to court.
Where is above?
Yes. I have to say some of these things. I'm being fought by very powerful forces that I don't know. Don't know kama ni competitors, I don't know if it's government, I don't know. Honestly, sometimes there are times nakanga hivi chini najiuliza, ni nani huyu? Who is this who's so keen to see me to see in my downfall? Yeah. So mimi na wazee na mka the next day nenda court napata refund yangu imeshatiwa down. Uko court. So I realize, so you're trying to beat me. Okay, no problem. Tell guys now do the pay bill. And in the pay bill message, I explained to people. I told them we are doing a pay bill because our WeFunder campaign has been shut down. So if you still want to chip in something to support this company, chip it for me. You understand? Mimi as an individual, it's fine. Mimi nikienda hata mnieke inda for 6 months. Me I'll survive. Because me I have that spirit. Mimi nimezaliwa ghetto. Hakuna tu unish to under the sun. But for my staff, kuna receptionist Kayyan Karo ajalipo 2 months. Kona mtoi. You understand? So actually all the money we did on the pay bill, I only took I think 20,000 or 30k. Our Kenyans raised almost close 900 huko 800,000 kitu kayo.
Wow.
Yes.
So they gave
in
money.
12 hours, yes. All of that money, it is ingine tulitumia kusettle debts that we owed to some of our landlords in Diamond Plaza, in Westlands. We also paid some bills kama lighting, steamer, those vitu za ofisi. And the rest the guys in the office split. At least kila mtu akapata 20k, 10k, like now things are able to move. You understand? Yeah. Because I just wanted to show a message that you look, you might fight me to the ends of the earth. But as long as we have goodwill from the Kenyan public, hata ukiniua leo, even if you kill me today, na niache hiyo website hapo. And I tell my sister continue running it. And people still resonate with my values, with my vision, and with what I'm trying to achieve. They're still going to support it. Yeah.
In the midst of these traumatic happenings,
Yeah.
how is your family holding up?
I'd say badly, especially for my mom and my sister. Sometimes I really pity them. Because you see, for me, I'm strong. But then sometimes it takes a huge toll. Yeah. My sister just called me right now. She was crying. She's like, I'm so worried about you. I don't sleep. Me nalala 8 hours sometimes. Nalala fiti sana by the way. There are days I sleep. But mimi kwa time saa zingine nashinda kulala. I get nightmares. I think I'm probably going to need a bit of time off once everything comes. But you see, I don't have that luxury. I'll only rest the day I sort out the pending clients. Yeah. And I'm like, I'll tell you the sort of meetings I do in a week. Crazy. But after 2 do, huku left, right, borrow here, nini, huku, wapi. Even my mom is really, hata she's like, you know, just sell everything off. Uza kila kitu. Si uko na pilot license yako, start afresh. There are times I've considered doing that. But then again, you una realize this was not your vision. I'm not the one who told God, I want to have the biggest car company in Kenya. Yeah. Me, I was just a car dealer, just doing videos. One moment we became the biggest in Kenya. You understand? And so some of these things ni Mungu amekupatia. So he's the only one who can take them away from you. Sure. Me hata sina license ya kuuza. But it's God who can come and say, I'm going to do what? Ndakunyang'anya. So it's a very tough situation for me. Then uko like, if I give up, tena niingia kwa DM, I find 10 people wameniandikia message, don't give up, you inspire us, keep pushing, you're my role model. So unajiuliza nikigive up mse mwenye anasemanga ni role model atasikiaje. So you just have to push. Yeah. Sometimes I force myself to wake up. You just wake up, hauna energy, hauna nguvu. You know, clients are going to be giving you pressure the entire day. Sometimes you're afraid of taking their calls, not because you hate them, but because you don't know what to tell them. You know, because sometimes raising capital is not easy.
Yeah.
There's a story where Jeff Bezos was saying to raise $1 million for Amazon, he ended up selling 20% of his company, and he did almost, I think, 60 meetings. 60 meetings is a lot of meetings. That's like a meeting for 2 months. Daily una meet mtu different. Anakwambia ni aje tutaona. Ni aje tutafanya. You know, same situation here. I talk to people. Someone tells you, I'm going to give you an undertaking of 20 million, but we are going to wire the money in 3 months. You know, someone tells you, we'll invest in your company, but in 6 months. So you're trying to look for very short-term solutions, but sometimes zinakuja nini. And also, unaona pia with the light of these legal situations, now mostly all Western investors are engaged, now cannot get involved until we sort out the legal trouble. So it's a very bad hole. But I'm one person who's resilient. I believe in my product. And I believe in my God-given abilities. So I'm not the person to give up. So we'll push na I'm sure mambo itakuwa fiti. Yeah.
Do you feel like your online presence made all this worse?
Yes, definitely. Because you see, once you're in the public eye, your wins. Last year we won best car dealership in Kenya, by the way. I won CEO of the year under 30. Now, that's very good positive press. But when somebody goes and complains, one client, then again, that negative press, the way humans are wired, a negative feedback sometimes will get a lot of, itapata a lot of, it a trend. Do 2 headlines even right now as Tuko. Andika moja, Khalif Kairo secures new investment. Hii itapata 1,000 likes. Eka ingine hapo, Khalif Kairo kicked out of his home and auctioned. 5,000 comments, 5,000 comments, 22,000 likes.
1 million shares.
And 1 million shares. You know, so human, hatuwezi blame binadamu. That's how these things are just, you know, binadamu ni, unanielewa, human beings, wako tu hivyo. You can't really blame them. Yeah.
You're such a controversial young man, and your lifestyle to some people come out as Khalif akona kiburi, especially this time when you were the pay bill thing again. Watu walikuwa like, see, alituambia one of his perfume inaweza ni bias juu nini, I can sell, siauze bike ya
Hapana, hiyo bike niliambianga ni Polo Kimani. You know me and Polo Kimani bant on Twitter. You see, people like taking things out of context. Polo Kimani and hata last year tulikuwa tumepanga boxing match. He's my buddy. But tunazitanga banters. Those are online banters at Twitter. So Polo sometimes ataniambia ni aje, we ni kipofu, hata unanga macho, you can't see. Like ukoona, like if you see the sort of badges nini, at one point ataniambianga yo Farouk Kibet kwanza ndo babako. Huwezi tuambia ni magari. You know, like we always have these exchanges with Polo Kimani. So I told him, Leo Polo Kimani, maybe one of that small bike and video. Like, isn't if it was a Twitter? Banters. You understand? But the problem with people is, Now, when people want to look for a reason to hate, they're going to take those banters and try to paint you in a certain light. Why don't they say that Twitter, Kairo is very philanthropic? Like me, I've done a lot of philanthropy on Twitter, so much. You understand? I've showed up randomly to support guys on Twitter who are starting their first companies. Kaka kuna boy wangu anaitwa AfriQuest, Muli runs a tour company. When he opened the tour company, he called me. Akaniambia niaje, Kairo, I've never done this before. I want you to be the first person kunipushia hii this tour company thing. I showed up at his event. His first ever tour ilikuanga Longonot. I was there. Tukamsaidia, tukaipublicize, tukapush. You get? People always want to focus on the negative. Me Twitter nimepena gari 3 for free, including your poem. Including your poem, tulipia like for free. You understand? People think it's marketing. It is marketing, but there's an element of giving back to the community. That guy who got that gari ya poem, Kafangi siku hizi namuonanga Kenya kila mahali akipiga gigs. Usijui unamuona kwa wapi anafanya nini. People want to focus about that. Polo Kimani mwenye nilikuwa na enjoy bike yangu inaweza feed sijui familia yake for a whole year. On a very light note. Polo got 2 contracts to do CCTVs in 2 of our offices. CCTV installations zetu za Diamond Plaza, motion detectors, hizo vitu zote, it's Polo Kimani who did. CCTV installation yetu ya Westland, it's Polo Kimani who did. They don't talk about that. You see? They're skewed. They just want to paint you as an arrogant, bad person, but I'm not. No, I'm a very easy guy, like very easy, very simple. But I live an extravagant life. Depends. I just say mimi nishingi tu maisha at my level. You understand? Usikia nimepiga kazi 10 years. Sometimes it allows you some luxuries. You understand? But those things don't define me. You understand? If need be, mi hata nduthi nachukuanga. Na sijaanza kuchukua saa hii. Hata last year the times I dumped my car for an entire week and use a motorbike. A boda to run around. You understand? All this content I make, I don't have a film crew sijui nini. Hata ningewafanyanga YouTube, I'd go shoot on my own, come home, edit. Like me just live a normal life. But you see, when you're down and when people really want to have an agenda with you, people will say anything. If they kill Jesus, you think they're going to be nice with you? Yeah. Of course they have to talk.
Speaking of your car, there was an article that it has been repossessed because Kairo amesota manzi.
Okay, start discussing na mambo ya gari, but it's fine. Nimesota. You see, look, there's nothing to be ashamed of that, you know.
But just tell us, is the car still there?
No, the vehicle has not been repossessed. But I'm not driving it. But the car has not been repossessed. But assuming it is repossessed, it's fine. You see, vehicles isn't vitu material. Can I tell you something about the story behind that car? I never wanted to buy that car. Funny thing. Like hata sikuanga interested nayo. Like hiyo portion acha niseme ni zile blessings unapatanga by accident. Before I got that Porsche, nilikujuanga na auctioneers 2 months before. Kwa sababu ile gari nilikuwa na drive hiyo time, kulikuanga hiyo time nilikuwa natokanga IBK. Ilikuwa na deni, IBK was supposed to pay, they didn't. So kulikuwa tu na mvurugano fulani. Na nikakujua na auctioneers by the way. Nasiko nikiwa big deal. But do you know what happened? It didn't go. But I kept working. I kept on pushing, I kept on doing my thing. From October, when the auctioneers were coming to hand me with that Audi, the Q5. By December, I'd already sorted that guy out, sorted the vehicle out. By January, God gave me a Porsche. So hata saa hii iende isiende, that vehicle does not define me.
Utapata ingine.
I'll probably utaona tu nimepiga tu hapa left right, biashara moja hapa, biashara nyingine hapa, biashara 3 hapo. Ferrari ikuje ama Bentley ikuje. Hizi vitu, let me tell you, hizi vitu as if I could define. Na nimeshikwambia tu Twitter. Again, you'll never see them quoting those things. Me, there many times on Twitter I've told people that material things should never define you. Money comes and goes. But you need to stay true to yourself. You understand? Size tuko Westi. Mimi naishi hapa Lavinda. Naweza chukua nduthi, hata naweza tisha Uber nduthi. Sitaki kwenda kaa kwa jam. Na inipeleke mtaa, na sitaona ikiwa big deal. But we live in a society that is very materialistic. You understand? Porsche iende, ikae. You see big deal. But you know, they're trying to sell this narrative that amesota, ameisha. Let me tell you something. Take away everything. I'll happily move back to my mother's house. In fact Josie, my mom was telling me, si ukuje tu ukae na mimi. Literally Josie alikuwa ananiambia hivyo. Instead of paying rent, you're lonely, I know you're lonely, uko peke yako. So you come to ukae na mimi, we just live with you. But I'm like, no, I won't come, but I'll come. Niwe ilo juu unapojua mzazi sometime unampima. I'll think about it. But push come to shove, I'll happily move back to my mother's house and keep pushing my vision. Isn't setback ndogo? Elon Musk, the world's richest man today. 2008, the man couldn't pay rent. Elon was living with his friends, and he couldn't afford to pay rent. His own words. See me nimemwekea. Elon has given that testimony before. He was undergoing a divorce. And can I tell you something? By January of 2009, he'd gotten a contract worth billions of shillings to help NASA. And he gotten funding again in billions of shillings. So, but the same Elon who couldn't pay rent in 2008, in 1998, bought a McLaren worth 1 million pounds. Najaribu kukwambia nini? Seasons za maisha.
Yeah.
Leo Porsche imekuwa repossessed. Next year kijana ameleta jet. Next year but one jet imekuwa repossessed. In 2 years amerecover amenunua yacht. That's life for you. Ni lazima tu learn ku embrace. Sema tu ni aje imeenda sawa. God will provide.
Oh, there's a part of your life that is very interesting.
Yeah.
Kairo's relationships. And before we even dive into it, do you fake your lifestyle?
Mimi, I'll tell you something. Mimi, I don't fake anything about my lifestyle. Very, very natural. Like, content yangu, like, inakwanga very natural. One moment tunaweza make, like when I was dating, there's one moment tuko mahali trip, the next moment tunakula street food. It doesn't get as genuine as that. You understand? One moment sijui tuko wapi, the next moment tunabebana kwa pikipiki.
Speaking of that, that trip that you have just mentioned, one moment mko ndege, the next mnakula street food.
Yes.
She was asked by people, why don't you help your ex during these court cases? And alikupeleka place fulani and they bought you an expensive, it was a chain or something? I don't know.
No, I didn't. You know, again, people like blowing things out of context. We didn't buy the ring. In fact, ukiona post yenye nilipost, I said, this chain is worth 250,000. We didn't say we bought it.
Okay.
You understand? This chain is worth 250,000. Hatukusema tumebuy. She tried it on na tukarudisha. But sasa watu wanachukua the same video, angalia hata alibai ya dem nini. You understand? You get like you get the point. Mi si fakingi. Say I'm in a lot of trouble, but this watch I'm wearing, I got it for 250,000. It's my favorite watch. You understand? So si fake. I could have bought that ring, but we didn't buy it. You understand? That same day we went somewhere and had street food to Kalipa, I think 300 shillings. Like hii content yote iko on, like adukenda kwa Twitter yangu, all this hii content yote iko hapo. The problem with people is they love cherry picking. Wasikia kitu kucherry pick. Kucherry pick inamaanisha we know Kairo has a very simple side to him. Mimi niko na hata last year there's a time we went to ship a plane from South Africa. Nilikuwa nakaa kwa bed sitter, I was paying 3k a day. A very simple lodging. I even posted it on my Twitter. I swear, nilipost nikaambiwa sasa ni hapa maisha tu ni simple, naishi kwa bed sitter. I was in a very remote place in South Africa. So kuna training nilikuwa nafanya for the plane you were supposed to bring. So I was living in a and I was enjoying it, and I posted. I told guys like, this is where I'm staying and I love it. Inanikumbusha maisha yangu ya bed sitter. But umeona mtu amepost your story? No, they just post hizo stories. Juu tumeenda wapi? So it's not balanced. People try to sell a certain version of you that you're not, to please themselves or to justify a certain narrative about you. Very normal. Yeah.
Your relationships. The last, your recent yenye imeisha, in a previous interview you guys said that you were married.
Yeah.
Alafu ghafla bin vu tunaamka Kairo ametokwa.
Hapana, tuliachana. Tuliachana. We had a very amicable like separation in November. We just said like, look, hiki tu yezi work. And I normally like defending the chicks I did. And I've only had 2 public relationships, by the way. Apart from that, before last year, can you say there's any relationship that, you know? But before that, I was in a long relationship, almost 5 years, 4 years. Nobody knows about, you know. Just some things, you know, zingine ni private, zingine ziko very public. Mimi shida relationship zangu is that I think based on the fact that I'm always under a lot of high pressure, it becomes very hard for me to be a good boyfriend. So Mimi won't come here and say Sarah is a bad person or say Wavinya is evil.
Amekutoka sana uko na crisis.
No. They are not. They are good people. Sarah tuliachana. But hakukuwa na crisis hiyo time. Si tuliachana na nikaambiwa say bethe Sarah alienda. It's true. She left. Because maybe she wasn't drawing value from the relationship in terms of the bond wasn't there. Maybe she felt that I wasn't giving her attention, which is true. You see, sometimes if you're a guy operating at my level, it becomes a problem. Nataka uone kitu, it doesn't just apply to the women I date. Even my own mom has a problem with me. My mom says that you work too hard, na uneka so much effort. If I were you, since you already made money, you're okay. I'm not rich, but my mom, in my mom's eyes, she's like, you're successful in your own right. You've trained to be a pilot. Why don't you just settle down, get a job, maybe go look for a job at Jambo Jet, KQ, maybe whatever airline that is out there. Become a pilot, fly, live a simple 9 to 5, and just raise your children and raise your family. That is my own mom who says that. And at times wapata pia mademu na date, they want that sort of guy. But unfortunately, I'm not that sort of guy. Today I slept at 2 a.m. Woke up at 7. Hiyo 2 a.m. imagine ungekuwa na dem. Most likely angelala 10, aende bed peke yake. So she's there, she's watching reels, ameboeka. You're not giving her attention. Sai niko hapa na nyinyi. Nikitoka hapa I'm going, sai saa ngapi? Sai it's 3. Probably going to go home. I'm going to go home and work until again 2 a.m. You see, that cycle is very toxic for a woman. Because they don't understand. Even one of the longest relationships I've ever had, one of the biggest fights I used to have with that lady was the fact that she'd always complain I don't give her attention. Juu hata tukiwa na yeye niko kwa simu. Do you understand? Yeah, so that last year I really wanted to start a family. Like I was very because nimesema ndafungua familia, not kufungua. I'd like start a family and do everything. But you see, it didn't work out. That's a failure on my end.
But were you married?
With nani? No, pana ilikuwa tu sometimes lazima ushtue watu kidogo. But anyway, we actually met each other's sets of parents.
Really?
Yeah, chini ya maji tu.
Introduction ni nini?
Chini ya maji ile tu.
Zandani, tupe zandani. Mlikuwa mmefika.
No, pana ilikuwa it was a very serious relationship. But ilifika mahali around November, I started realizing that, with the sort of storms that the company was in, it was affecting. Because let me tell you one thing people don't know about Wavinya. Wavinya is so sweet. Like she's the sort of lady who wants a family, a guy who's there for her, na raise watoi. Even Sarah. Good women. I see people attacking them. Unaona hata sasa venye tumeachana nao. I can't mi siwezi kuja hapa ni trash talk Sarah. She's an amazing person. Siwezi kuja hapa ni trash talk Wavinya. They are good individuals. These are women who want to start families. They've, ni watu tu like hawana mambo mob. But saa shida, me am the problem. You understand? Sijui nani alificha nyota yangu ya kuoa. I don't know. I need to find out. But you see pia, unaona hiyo story objectives. Mimi sahi commitment yangu ni kazi ya Mungu na kampuni. And those two things are intertwined. You see, a successful company is a form of ministry. Because you're touching people's life. Mtu amekuja kwako, you've given them a job, they've drawn a salary from you. Unaona kidogo amebaika gari, amejenga kanyumba. Unafanya kazi ya Mungu. It's still service, you understand? And it takes a toll. But not forever. I still know as long as my God lives, there's a time Mungu atani set up mahali uko, mahali tu ni retire, polite life. With a beautiful wife, my children running around. One day it will come. But right now, I'm paying a very steep cost for that future life. So I have to sacrifice some things.
We have to give you this one. There's something that you do that is really gentle of you.
Yeah.
You really defend your women.
Yes.
Hata online, hata ukiwa kumoto, you really defend them.
You have to.
And also, there's a favorite line that you really use that, I'm really careful of who I'm getting intimate with because there are people, if you indulge with them, things go haywire. Sasa people try to link that with your recent relationship.
Okay, I'll tell you something. Relationship is one thing. Business is another thing. Are you together up to that point? And I don't know any business on earth that is 1000% smooth. Me, I've sat with billionaires, like guys who are proper wealthy. Like ile wacha hii ya papers juu my company is valued. Mtu unasikia akona za mali hata akona 10 million USD maybe hata kwa account. Very wealthy guys. And can I shock you? All of them, even wenye nimeenda kutafuta kuomba do, kuomba investment, they tell me one thing: whatever you're going through, we all went through. This is what's going to shape you. So you can't take that and blame it on a woman. That's being stupid. You just undergo in a phase. Hakuna umayona mtoto amezaliwa leo, kesho ameingia university. First of all, a child atazaliwa kwanza wiki za kwanza hata they'll suckle. After a few months you have to introduce them to food. Then they need to start walking. Hiyo mtoto akianza kutembea, they keep on falling. Hapo ndo unasikianga mtoto sijui alianguka. Me have a scar that haijaisha, and my mom tells me nilianguka nikiwa mdogo. You understand? So what am I trying to say? A company is like a child. You have to nourish that child. You have to give it attention. You have to feed it. Once in a while that child will get sick. Kana kuwa kagonjo mnaona kakataenda. Sasa mimi place yenye niko mtoto wangu kayankaro.com. This is a very sick child. So right now you see mimi nikiwa hapa spiritually, I think I'm running around one clinic to the other, one doctor to the other, trying to seek for help to save my child. You get? So whether I'm dating, whether I'm not dating, kuna cycles za kampuni huwezi avoid. They are always there. But again, it's true. The people you can date bedhe upate ni swara. But I wouldn't blame ati mtu yote. Mi pia I'm intelligent enough to understand kuna foundation nimekia kampuni yangu. Kuna foundation mimi nimejiwekea kwa Mungu. That one person cannot come and destroy it. If some of these things are coming, if some of these storms are coming and they are taking this toll, it's because God has allowed it to happen. For whatever reason. Maybe he's punishing me. You never know. Maybe it is for his own interest, for his own glory. Maybe he's taking us to another level. We don't question God. Sometimes you just have to take your challenges in stride and just say, it's fine. If I don't die, sawa. Tena nikirusho jela, okay, pia ni fiti. I won't be the first or the last. Yeah. But what matters is that intent. And you can't start shifting blame. Sijui, dem alifanya nini? That's being immature. Yeah.
Last question about relationships. An allegation that Kairo can date an Instagram buddy just for clout. There's no genuine relationship.
No, that would be very, very, very false. Because if you, I think Instagram has buddies.
Sure, it does.
I mean, there are buddies who are on top of their game. 1 million followers, 2 million followers. Why am I not dating those ones?
Pengine wakutaki.
I want to make a comment lakini it might be used against me. No, you can get any girl. Hata sido ni charm. Smile kidogo. Very, very beautiful today. You're looking gorgeous. Just be a gentleman. Women love gentlemen, by the way. Like, people think ati kudeta madames, lazima kuwe na do nini. You can date these women. They just want, let me tell you something. Kitu nimekam kurealize. The most beautiful women are some of the most genuine souls you'll ever interact with. Let me give you a very good example. Maria, when we started talking, me thought Maria was going to be a snob. Unaona Miss World, sijui Kenya, unaona like she's done all these crazy things, high flying career. You're like, mtu atakusnob, atakuwa na maringo, but no, down to earth. First date actually, first date tuliendanga wapi? I think it was some place in some Blue Post, something. Just a polite lunch. We spent like 3K. Second date we went for nyama choma and mugithi. I swear. And then a movie, 4,000 shillings. But msana expect sijui nilienda nikamchukua nikamweka kwa helicopter nikampeleka Lamu. No, not really. So unaona kwanza mademo warembo. Now this is like for the guys. The most beautiful women. Hata ndio wasichana rahisi kuingiza box because most men huogopa. Most men are like, hey, huyu ni ngori. So patanga dem, she's very beautiful, but they're not confident people to go hit on her.
Yeah.
But back to your story about buddies. Nani, I think Wavinya has lesser followers than me. Sarah still has lesser followers than me. So if it's about clout, if I was dating someone for clout, ideally you would want to go for someone with like 10 times your followers. Or to come Ambare. Ambare is like has a crazy following amongst women. So see if you were after clout, you would want to date for someone like that. But for me, imagine me just wanted someone, a soulmate, we could make content with. Like sometimes we the most, they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Me sometimes hata nikidate na watu watengeneza content na Sera ama Wavinya, these are simple chicks, they are easy. Me in my eyes they're very simple chicks. Hawana mambo mob. Forget about what you people see. Mimi from my perspective, these are just good women, amazing, hawana story mingi. We make content, we grow our brands. Pige madeal zake huko, mimi nipige zangu, and we grow together. You understand? So it's got nothing to do with clout. Si tuko kazi. You understand? Kazi ni nini? Let's build our family, let's make content. Because I'm telling a story. Sinakwambia kuna watu wamenifuata kutoka 2017. Yeah. So the people who will be saying Tumeona Kairo akigrow, amefikisha kampuni yake, we saw him get a wife and everything. Maybe they admire couple content. I like what Dan and Bahati do. I like Kabi and Mili. Kabi is actually my good friend like from way back, 2020. I've met Bahati. DJ Mo is my friend. Kwanza ameproposea nani. You see that story?
Yeah.
There's always the beauty in a story.
You love.
Me ni lover boy.
Sawa.
Shida lakini hizi streets anyway.
Unaona dust ni constant. Okay.
No, it's normal. Okay, why do we make it look like kuachana is such a bad thing? We need to stop having this loser mentality about dust. We need to start treating relationships like sometimes like business. Unaweza ingia biashara, you work. You understand? Me before then I've been in a relationship for many years that didn't work out. You understand? Can I say now I'm bitter at that person? Oh, I hate her, nini. You might not talk today, but you see, sisi sema ati ni dust niliona. It was a learning curve. Last year nilidate Sarah na Wavinya. Did the relationships work? No. Do I have any regret? No. There are a couple of things I've learned. Maybe nimerealize, okay, maybe you shouldn't date now. Kwanza tulia kwanza, just establish kidogo, uache hii pressure mingi ya kufanya kazi mob sana. Then ukisha relax, ukue sasa uko idle kidogo, now start a family. Those are lessons. You know, but these stories dust nini, it's a cheap anti-masculine victim mentality. Sasa jumeachana umeona dust. No, you just had a bad relationship, imeisha. Move on.
So Kairo, in all these, what have been your biggest lesson?
Number one is that you need to trust God in bad things and in good things. And number two, you need to know that bad days do come. I think Mimi never foresaw a bad day. I knew it was always going to be a season of wins. Monday to Monday, winning. An achievement here, a new company then. But look, even the best players have seasons where they lose. Kama sasa nasikia watu wa Manchester wanalimwa mbaya sana left, right and center. That will hurt people. Ngoja utaona kwa comments. Nasikia wamebakisha sijui slots ngapi uingie relegation. We were a Manchester fan. Paul and I'm rubbing it in. Sorry about that. But you get the point. But Manchester is a great team. We don't know how next season will be. Hata wanaweza kuwa relegated na wachukue, okay. But wanaweza kuwa relegated na unaona hiyo division, itango division 1. Wakuwe number 1 tena warudi nini? Top league. You understand? So life is like that.
Yeah.
There are seasons when you're going to win, seasons when you're going to lose. Now what you need to know is that at a high level, your losses are going to be big losses. You get? Kama sahi ni naangalianga hata siwezi sema bedhe losses zangu ni kubwa. I'm just having like small, me in my mind I'm not seeing big losses. Me there are people I know mtu anakuambia ni aje bro. Niko na this day I went out. So I was at Ibiza with a friend of mine. We're just chilling to a story. So a guy sees me, he comes to me akanita kando kuja. Nimeona watu wakikuattack online. Unaona mimi venye nimekaa hapa. Monday na kujua na auctioneers, niko na loan ya 250 million nimeshindwa kulipa. But am I worried? In fact, I have a buddy right there, I'm having my drink. So it's never that serious. Na akaniambia take heart na nikarudi kwa meza yangu. That guy, sikuchukua numbers, kumbuki ni nani. But you know what he taught me? That as you advance in life, the more your losses are going to be. And the bigger your wins are going to be. So we need, tunafaa kuacha hii attitude ufala ati mtu amepiga loss moja hapo that hiyo ameisha nini. There's a time KQ was making losses back to back. So KQ wameanza kurecover, they're doing well as a company. So it's just a season. There's a season of winning, there's a season of losing. there's a season of night. But umeisikia night ina last sijui 1 year. Even in the North Pole and the South Pole, where nights last for 6 months. After 6 months, then it's always light for another 6 months. Yeah, so I think I'm more mature, I'm more resilient, and my faith in God is stronger. Yeah.
Who have been the core people who have been holding you up during this storm?
Shout out to a guy called Sydney Rema. Sydney is the founder of a company called Sanifo. It's an AI company. Big up those guys. Those guys have Rema has really supported me. And there's a guy called Mbiti. Kwanga pale Twitter. Mtu pia tunakuanga na mabanta na but good friend. Then there is my family. Familia, you know, that pia my family, my mom, my sister, my pastor, yani that don't know community. Mimi siwezi sinanga sako kubwa. Even from kitambo. Sako langu ijai kwa kubwa. I also have exes reaching out by the shout out to my exes, the good ones. From way back. No, wale my ex wenye mliachana but hamkuachana na ubaya sana. You know, they still remember ni aje uko fiti, you know you're good. Yeah, so I've learned who the people who care the most for me are during this period. In your time then nimejua this person really actually cares for you, you understand? And yeah, ni season fiti, like I'm sina bitterness.
You're learning.
Yeah, I'm just learning and I'm just praying to God iishe. Kama ni deliveries tuzipige, tumalize on a good note. Na maisha iendelee. Mimi sichukulia ati like it's the end of the world.
Have you lost friends?
I don't have friends to begin with. You need to understand that. Again, something I've constantly said on Twitter. Mimi sinanga mabeshte. I don't have friends. Nilimalizananga na stories za mabeshte 2022. That fallout ya 2022 taught me very painful lessons. Because some of the people who betrayed me at that particular point are people I considered to be brothers and friends. So after that, asikianga mtu ni rafiki yangu. Sinanga mabeshte. Like, okay, kuna wala naweza sema we are good business associates. But sinanga tiyo beshte. Sinanga bestie. I've always been an isolated guy. I move on my own. Hatu kinipata out 90% of the times, you're more likely. Time yenye sana nilikwenda out ungenipata Mugithi ama Reggae. Most likely. Kasi na demo yenye na date. Utanipata peke yangu. Yeah. Non ranger. Yeah.
Hii swali during it come up during the court cases and ikushikashikwa. Ati Kairo has been lying, he's a Gen Z, and the court documents are stating that he's 34 years old.
That's a big fat lie. The propagator of that rumor is one of the guys who've been paid. There's one blogger on Twitter. Huyu anakuanga na obsession na mimi. I think he wakes up, ananiota, anamka asubuhi, anaenda kwa page yangu naona amepost nini. The whole point with these people is to discredit me. You understand? Is to discredit me. But I'll tell you something for a fact. I don't know if I'm carrying my sijui niko na
ID.
I have my ID over here. Let me show you my ID. I'm going to show you 2 documents. My passport. So this is my passport. What's the date?
November 5, 1996.
Yes. Okay. That's the first document. The other document I'm going to show you. I think hata niko na nini yangu birth certificate yangu mahali hapa. I'm sure iko mahali huko tu. Let me show you. You know it's good to set some of these things straight. Okay, I don't have a copy of, but I probably have a copy of my pilot's license which has my age again. Cause like hata nashanganga. Okay, but can I tell you what the whole point is? It's to discredit the fact that I've achieved so much at an early age. So you see, when hate doesn't work, when the whole world doesn't turn against, you know, they try to discredit your achievements. I remember last year when we brought in the plane. Last year Jetman delivered its first plane to Kenya. When we delivered that plane to Kenya, again they started saying that the plane had not been delivered, we had rented it. But ndege saiko Wilson, imechill tu hapo, you know. So these guys always come up with stories. This is my license. So this is a medical certificate from the Kenya Civil Aviation. What age does it say? Hapa. So
iko na date of birth.
Yeah.
5th November 1996.
Yes.
Wambui Joseph Kairo.
Yes. There's even a photo I posted the other day. The smart ones, you know, people are not smart sometimes. You could see in the photo, I'm a 7-year-old kid, and my cousin who seated next to me, amevaa nini za 05. 05 ilikuwa fashion 205. 204 fashion ilikuwa fubu. I remember some of these funny things. So I mean, like, vitu zingine hata make sense. Nilimaliza I finished KCSE in 2014. I finished KCPE in 2010. Nilizaliwa 96. As in, vitu zingine ni hesabu. I'm one of those people. Hata ukienda kwa social media yangu, you can clearly see the chronological. Yeah, but people love telling lies to discredit you. And these are people on payroll. But mi sinanga issue na bloggers, you know, kila mtu ako kazi. Yeah. Kama analipo kuni discredit, just kume kazi. Tuwezi haribu mboka.
Okay. What are you planning to do different this time?
More global approach. Dream bigger. Kenya is a small part of the equation. Kenya will restrict you. If you want to do big business, start thinking about the US, Dubai, Singapore. How do we access the global economy? You can work very hard in Kenya. This is what experience has taught me this year. Hii kazi yangu yote nimefanya Kenya. It could have gone to waste. Simply because I'm in an economy, I'm in a third world economy. Hakuna funding and nobody, like, unajaribu ku-explain ya mtu concept, like, people don't see your vision. But the economies, ukiwa na attitude kama yangu, you go and they reward you. Those are more mature economies. They reward innovation, they reward hard work, and there are systems that cannot be taken advantage to undermine. There are systems that cannot be taken, like, kuna system wezi tu inge hivi mtu wa ku-undermine. And there are systems that, there's a time Jeff Bezos was saying, the US is so unique because you can tell investors there's a 20% chance of something working and say you want $50 million, which is like 7 billion. Now atakupatia. You only get that sort of attitude in the US.
Yeah.
So nimerealize yani, like, we need to dream bigger, tutoke block. Unaget? Mbona vijana wa Roysambu mtu anashinda kwa laptop the whole. Na si watu wanafanya vitu illegal. Many work for companies in the US remotely. Companies do in Europe remotely and they make big money. So we need to think beyond Kenya. Tuache kuona sijui nikimaliza kampo, nipate kazi. Think. How do you, hii idea yako uko nayo, how do you sell it to the world? Yeah. So mimi, my goal is to build a large, strong Kenyan brand that can compete on the global scale. Sijasema tuachane na nchi yetu, but we need to attack the global scale. We need to become like Nigerians. Go anywhere in the world, there's always a Nigeria doing crazy things. Forget about the ones who do bad things online. There are so many who do good things. You understand? Me kama I have a supplier in Japan who's Ghanaian. Jama menda Japan, he set up a company, he exports cars. You understand? We need to start doing those sort of things. Yeah.
Wow. Kairo, thank you for your time.
Asante.
I guess my last question from me would be, do you think that especially Kenyans on the internet, we judge too harshly before listening to both sides of the story?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, nimekuja kurealize tunakuwa roho chafu. I won't sugarcoat it. Tunakuanga roho chafu and we like attacking successful things. You understand? You can have a 99% success rate at building a product. But that 1% will kill you in Kenya. Yeah. Hiyo 1% is what they will use to attack you. You can do 1,000 great things. Fail at doing 20. 20 zikuchemsha kidogo. They'll use those 20 to attack you, unfortunately. But you see, you can't blame people.
Yeah.
Wezi nini, you know, it's the way we are wired, which is a bad way. So we need to come out of that mindset. Don't be better. Don't be bitter. Be better. You know, just try level up. If you see Kairo, instead of thinking of ways to drag, the most tragic thing, the people who attack me the most are men, especially in their 30s and 40s. So like, bro, where were you, like my old bro? Why you know, what's this bile you have towards me? Since we're just trying, man. We're out here, we're trying. You go in writing long posts about me. See, I go to Facebook and I find someone has written a whole essay. At his sijui alifanya nini, sijui was spending, sijui was doing what. But like, bro, do you know how much money I make in a month? Bro, do you know how much money I've invested in? They have no idea. But we are so quick to attack something that is going on very well. Yeah, and it's one tragic thing about Kenyan society. But I bet it's not unique. But I think Kenya tuko na hiyo roho chafu, which is not good. Yeah, because other guys that tell me ukae tu chini ya maji. But I'm like, okay, tutakaa chini ya maji toe biashara wapi? But the moment tena you stick up your head,
unagongwa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tragic.
Well, thank you for your time. I guess I've also had my take-homes today from you, especially business-wise, and of course not giving up, even in the midst of the storms. But now before we close this episode officially, there's someone that you have really credited during this episode, who is Mom. Yeah. In case she's watching this episode, what would you want her to know? Acha uoga. Tulia mambo itakuwa fiti bana. Kama Kenya hata hakuna feeling tuache uoga. Tulia, calm down. Everything is going to be okay, mom. Don't worry. We still have, public support. Very important. Once we go back to where we were, God willing, it's the same public that will give us business. The same. If the public supports us, it doesn't matter who is fighting us. Bora tuko na Mungu, na Mungu ametupea favor in the eyes of Kenyans. Because apart from people who talk bad online, there's a 90% that just observes and just moves on. But jioni utapata wamekutumia emails, wanataka uwapate, wengine wanataka kazi, wengine wanataka uwapatie, wauzie magari, wengine wanakupatia business opportunities. So I'd like to tell my mom, don't worry, your son is in good hands. Na Mungu amembariki, and the fact that he still has the favor from the public. This is a storm, it's gonna pass. It's gonna pass. And everything is going to be okay. Yeah. Yeah. And to yourself, now ukimalizia hapo mwisho, when you're telling yourself ukimalizia hapo mwisho, please clarify, is Kairo a con? Apana, Kairo is not a con man. Kairo is a straight business person. 10 years in the car sales industry in Kenya. Not one single case before 2025. Not one single appearance in court before 2025. Kairo represents the millions of business people in Kenya who are experiencing tough economic times. I'm not the only person getting auctioned. I'm not the only person who's going through these phases. These are normal phases that business people go through. Doesn't make me any special. So don't vilify me. I'm a straightforward person. It's the reason I'm doing this interview, to set the record straight and to put everything in order. Are we together? Yeah. The last words to myself, keep pushing. Utakuwa unapewa watu story gani kwa yata? Wow. We keep dreaming big. Yeah, you have to dream big. Oh, thank you. Yeah. And we are rooting for you. We hope that everything... Oh, if I don't ask this, they might come for me. Do you think you owe anyone an apology? No, I honestly don't think... The only people I genuinely owe an apology, because they're the people who've been mostly affected, are my clients. To my clients who we've had these deliveries, I'm truly sorry. I'm working 24/7 to sort this issue. Even coming to this interview, hii ni kazi. Because there are many people who are going to see this video. Some are investors, some are our future clientele. We need those people to enable us to be able to overcome this phase. We need to keep getting business, and the company needs to stay operational. So, but this is part of work. And those are the only people I owe an apology to. Your clients. My clientele. Because those are the people who trusted me with money. Understand? And I'm working day and night to resolve the impasse. And we will overcome this. So I'm just going to appeal for calm, support, and prayers. But for people online, no apologies, but asante sana for the support. Whether you engage with me negatively or you engage with me on a positive note, I still count it as support. Because the more you keep mentioning my name out there, kuna watu bado mnatufanyia marketing. So I appreciate even for your time. And even some people who criticize us. Hatuwezi sema wote ni wabaya. You understand? Even in the Bible there's a point where someone insulted David, and one of the guys with David akamwambia, should we kill that guy? David said no. Don't kill him because you don't know kama ni Mungu amemtuma. So even to the critics, to the bloggers who day and night are always writing negative things about us, no hard feelings. Keep doing your job. I respect your opinion and keep pushing us. Wow. Yeah. Thank you. And to you, our viewer, thank you for sticking with us up to this point of today's episode. As usual, I'm waiting to hear your thoughts on the comment section below. Please like this video, watch, subscribe, and share. Until next time, my name is Njeremasi. Just keep it Tuko.